When you walk into your building, your intuition is going to let you know. If you haven't yet learned how to coach your intuition to that level, then when you drive home tonight, drive home following your intuition. Should I turn left here or right here? Just follow it. Learn how to follow it. Like I said, we could spend hours on this. The first step, you walk in and you go, is this the one? And then each of the 9 players in the real estate deal has to be analyzed. Is it the property itself? Is it the tenants? The first step, you walk in and you go, is this the one? And tenants help somehow. Is it the realtor? Is it the lender? Is it a partner lender? Is it a mortgage holder? Is it an investor who we could create a note and discount the note and get the cash from it? In other words, each one of these players in this game has to be kind of visualized in a sense. And when I walk into a piece of real estate, I just know who to talk to. And I start to talk to them like, how can I help you solve this problem? And because I come into it without like me greedily trying to beat them down to the lowest dollar I can possibly get this property for, when I come into it, I say, boy, you got a problem here. Let's try to solve it. And if I can't buy it, I can't buy it. Let's help you figure it out. And then a lot of times they'll say, okay, I'll take your help. And then you help them and you get nothing. You get nothing. And every once in a while a person will say, I don't want it. One of our students it was a millionaire now. It was a wonderful Hispanic family from out right here in L.A. This lady had a person come in and steal her house from them, stole it from her. How'd they steal it from her? She was starting to be late on her payments. They found out through one of these foreclosure lists. They called her on the phone and said, we'll take care of you. We'll pay you money. Just hang on. And they drug her out on purpose to the last day of the foreclosure sale. And she finally says, you guys were supposed to take care of me. What's going on here? She says, we were just, frankly, just dragging you on. I don't know why they ever told her. They shouldn't have told her, frankly. But as soon as she called our Hispanic gentleman, who's a wonderful guy. He's going to New York with us. And he had come to her early on and said, can I help you? And she loved this kid, but he couldn't have she had already committed to sell to these other guys. And as soon as she found it, she went back through all the people who had called her. There must have been 50 people had talked to her about buying her house in foreclosure. This was 2 years ago. And who did she remember? The kid who had tried to help her. That was the person who stood out to her. It was the enlightened person, frankly. She called him on the phone. She says, I'm going to foreclosure tomorrow. And so he had 24 hours to raise about $50,000 in cash. And let me tell you, the hoops he went through to get it, you would be surprised. But he was there at the foreclosure sale with a cashier's check within 24 hours and bought that house. And you know why he bought it? Because she said, I'm going to lose it, I know, but if anybody in the world is going to get it, I want you to have it. And when I heard that story, I mean, like just what you did, I go, oh yeah, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about an enlightened person, and what I believe is that higher power does get you the deals. The deals do fall in your lap. They just do. In a magical, incredible way. They really do, don't they? They just do. And it's crazy to talk about it. Now he said to her, let me help you get into a house. He made $160,000 on that house, by the way. $160,000 cashier check dollars. And he said, now, ma'am, she said, I'm out. I'm done, because he said, let's go find you a house. Let's take some of that money and let's put you into a house that you can afford. And he took the next step. He didn't have to. Took the next step. Now, you talk to that woman about this young guy, and she used a word that I want you to remember. She says, he was my angel. He was my angel. Does she love this kid even now? What I'm trying to teach you is that when you see real estate, you have to see it in a totally different way. You're not kind of trying to do a deal where you beat somebody down and get the lowest possible price so you can put it on the Millionaire Hall of Fame. mean, that would be the worst story you could have, is you beat somebody down to the bottom so you could put some numbers on the Million Hall of Fame. You walk into that home and you say, God, what do you want me to do in this house? Is there somebody who needs some help? Somebody was in that house praying for a solution. Are you the solution? Or are you the problem? You come into that house as the solution. And you say, higher power, you know, let's talk about tithing and stuff. People usually pay tithing for the wrong reasons. They pay tithing because they assume that if they'll put their 10% in, that God will give them 10 times that, right? Isn't that the certificate of deposit in some higher power bank? Don't do that. Don't ever do that. When you give because you are so grateful. You are so overwhelmingly appreciative of the breath you take that giving 10% to anybody to help them is such a privilege to you that you can't even believe anybody allows you to do that. And you expect absolutely nothing back. If you expect it back, you didn't give it right.
So the prism is a word. The first one means P stands for product. Everyone say product? Now, there's all kinds of products. I mean, there's hair products, there's car products, all kinds of products. Second P?
The PRISM is an acronym that we use a lot. Your business is going to do one of these 5 things. It's either going to be a product or a related product. For instance, an automobile is a product. What would be a related product to an automobile? A tire.
Yeah, the mirror. I met the lady whose husband invented the mirror. She makes her name's Prince. We had dinner with 8 of us in Hawaii not long ago. They make $4 billion a year on a rear view mirror. One related product, rear view mirror. One product can make you rich. Everyone say, one product can make me rich.
One product.
It can make all your heirs, that's H-E-I-R-S, rich. I mean, my estate attorney and Bob's, or no, we've got different estate attorneys now, but my estate attorney is the guy who did all of L. Frank Baum's estate. Who's L. Frank Baum? Insurance guy who wrote The Wizard of Oz. His estate makes $100 million a year with little Tin Man on Halloween and all that junk. That's why we said write down your 100-year goal, because all of you were born rich. That's what everyone says, I was born rich.
I was born rich.
Now, some of you just haven't bought into the fact that you were born rich. You got 18 billion brain cells, but what we're going to give you is some models to go through so you get it. Everyone say, I got it. Now, the I got it seems silly, but you got to have it before you get it. That's what's amazing. It sounds like gobbledygook. But the spiritual laws, I call those things that are not seen as though they were seen and they came to be seen, Bob.
So
it could be an information product, service, or media.
Whether it's a product or a related product, information. How many of you want to write a book again? Let me see that. So you would be marketing an information product, right? It wouldn't be a car. It wouldn't be a hard, lumpy object. It wouldn't be a pen, something like this. It would be information. Services is where you take your car in to go get it washed. That's a service. And media is an experience that you take somebody through.
Which is next door to Disney. That's an experience. Everyone's saying experience. Disney calls himself the happiest place on the earth, right? And it either is or it isn't for you. But how many have been to Disneyland, Disney World, or Epcot? During the rest of your life, how many plan to go back? I mean, we were close friends with the guy who designed the $9 billion Epcot. He just passed away, and Bob did his funeral. But Ken Kerr, for Disney, he met Walt when he was 5 years old, went to work for Walt, and then opened up Epcot. And the writing of the mythology for it was by a guy born in my hometown, Ray Bradbury. But our friend Ken Kerr did all the design.
Millionaires see patterns. Millionaires see patterns.
Everyone say, I see patterns.
Just like
one of your neighbors say, you see patterns.
Just like you saw those Indian faces hidden in that particular piece of art, magnificent piece of art. Most people just don't see those patterns. Millionaires see those patterns. How do we get to see those patterns? Well, we try to teach you how to see them, but it's also going back to your inspiration. You start to see things people don't see. It just kind of pops out at you. How many this weekend have you begun to see a world that you did not see before you walked in this door?
Look around the room. Look around the room. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up.
We're trying to teach you how to see
80% of
these
you, I think.
patterns.
Maybe not 100, but 80 it looks like.
So what we want you to ask for every product that you are starting to make into something magnificent, you start to ask questions about it. You ask questions that millionaires would ask. You know, for instance, what if we could create a multi-sensory experience with it? What if we take this pen right here? Okay, it's just a stupid pen. All right, well, what if we added some multi-sensory stuff to it? What if there was a smell to this pen, like it just puffed this little aroma? As you wrote, every time you wrote, it kind of puffed stuff off of it.
Yeah, it smelled like lavender, which is both a calming smell and an aphrodisiac.
What else could we do to add some multi-sensory stuff to this pen? It could be a flashing light. What else? A warmth, yeah. Oh, there's one. Look at that. There you go. That's it right there. It's a bubble pen. Oh, there's no bubbles in it? You know, in other words, we can take things and we can add things to the pen to multi-sensitize it. Every product you see could be multi-sensorized. You know? So you start to ask yourself a question about every product that you're going to create. How about this one? Foreign eyes. What if we could take it to the world? Are there products here in America that would make you billions of dollars if you just took them to another country? Are there products in other countries that have made millions over there but haven't been brought here yet? Ken Kerr, as you were just mentioning, brought Smurfs here. He found the Smurfs in a toy fair in Germany, brought them here. The kids, they brought all these samples, about 1,000 different samples of all the toys they picked up at the toy fair in Germany. Brought them home and they put a whole bunch of kids in a room with all these toys and just found out which kids the toys loved and kept playing with over and over again. It was these little blue figurines, these little blue figures. And they said, who created the Smurfs? And they forgot the name of the guy, where they got it. They didn't have the sample. They flew back to Europe because they had a hit. They had to go to Frankfurt, all the way to Holland to find where the guy was, or was it Belgium? I can't remember. Finally found the owner of the Smurfs and said, can we license it for America? License it for America. It had been in Europe for 25 years. Brought it here and it became huge here. Question is, every time you look at a product, why don't you ask yourself the question, I wonder if that would sell in China? Would that sell in Turkey? Would that sell where could we sell it? And could I get the license to that? Does the person who's marketing that have a license to sell it all around the world? Etc. These are just questions that start to now kind of, if you want to work with a computer, your brain is a computer. Do you know how you program it? With questions.
Question is the answer in this case.
The question is the answer. If you have a question you can ask yourself and ponder it. Most people ask themselves the wrong questions all the time. Like
how do I get a job? And I'll bet I'm not worth more than 30 to 50 grand a year.
How come I keep screwing up so often?
Wrong question, wrong result. The size of your question determines the size of your result. Everyone say, I'm into big questions from now on. Substantive questions from now on.
I want you to go home and I want you to count up 101 things in your house. Count them up. Toilet paper holder.
Just the other one I picked the other day.
Let me finish. Toothpaste, walls, carpets, dishes. Count up 101 things. As you go through that list of 101 things that you've written down, the things that are in your house right now, ask yourself how many millionaires were made from those things. The answer is every one of those things made a millionaire. The next question you should ask is, what if I could take that one thing, go down with your intuition. Yeah, number 64. I like that one. Go out 100 years with it. What is this going to be like in 100 years? If you'll ask that simple question, your brain will now, as a computer, a powerful computer, will start to create a future of what it's going to be like, a wildly, totally different product than you see in your house right now. Then the next question is, how can I bring my vision of the future back to today? That in itself, if you did that with every one of the 101 objects in your house, today, one of them you were destined to make millions from by using that one simple question. You're going to read about this in the book. There's a chapter in the book where every product can be maximized, minimized, plus, minus, etc. What Mark and I like to do is to take a big concept and to put it into one page. So you look at one page, you got the whole chapter. And these icons may not mean a lot to you now, but as you read through the chapter, you'll understand that the star at the top means to enlighten a product. And the question you'd ask is, how would higher power enlighten this product? How could we enlighten it? Well, the easiest way to enlighten it is to dedicate 10% of it to somebody who needs it. And that enlightens it instantly, just like that.
The second thing I'd say is that, I'm a great fan of Dr. George Washington Carver, who is in 1864 watched his mother pulled into slavery. He bounces around orphanage to orphanage, but they teach him the blue-black speller, first black man to graduate with 3 doctorates in Iowa. Booker T says, look, you got to come down to Tuskegee to help our people. The boll weevil was eating the cotton, but it wasn't eating it because it was strong. It was eating it because it was weak. It's just like garbage doesn't create rats. It just feeds them in New York when we have garbage strikes. Point is, he says, okay, God, take your eyes through my heart and see what to do. And he said, grow legumes. And all of a sudden he says, well, what do legumes do? Well, soybeans and peanuts take sun and through photosynthesis put nitrogen back in the soil, make the soil strong again. He talks to all the black farmers who've taken over all the farms to grow peanuts. And he said, you have not been studying your entrepreneurship, because Say's law, John Baptiste Say, says an entrepreneur. Everyone say, I'm an entrepreneur?
I'm an entrepreneur.
Take something from a lower value. Everyone say lower value? And makes it into a higher value. Higher value. Higher value. Higher value. Higher value. What Bob and I are trying to do is up your value, and what he did is he said, what I'll do is I'll go into meditation at 4 in the morning again, take God's eyes looking, and in 1 month he had 367 inventions for the peanut at a higher value, and now all the peanut became valuable. It was always valuable, but remember, we said it's hidden in plain sight. Everyone say hidden in plain sight?
Hidden in plain sight.
He came up with peanut oil, peanut milk, and the one we eat all the time is peanut. That is enlightened, because he said, and then, Henry Ford says, well, you got to work for me, and Thomas Edison said, you got to work for me. He said, no, I'm working for, my brothers and sisters down here, and I want to show everybody that they can think. And he turned them on. And if you haven't been down to Tuskegee, Alabama, you need to go down there sometime. But that's enlightened.
So every product can be completely transformed. That's the point. Everything you see can be transformed. And this is a model where everything you see in your house can be plus, minus, minimized, maximized, enlightened, residualized, multiple streamed, A plus B. Well, Mark and I are A plus B. I was successful. He was successful. We added each other to each other, and we become less successful. But
that was a joke.
Your telephone has got a PDA in it. Right? You take a PDA, you take a telephone, you add it together. Your telephone's got a camera in it. You take a camera and a telephone, you add them together, and you have another product. You A plus B it. When you add something to a product, can you millionize it? Tell me a product that was an ordinary nothing product, and somebody added one little thing to it and made $1 billion from it.
Anyone raise your hand? M3B?
Post it. Post it.
Sir.
An ordinary
tissue paper.
Tissue paper had a fragrance to it. Give me some more. What? Pet rock? Pet rock?
Pet rock?
How about water? What is more expensive than a gallon of gasoline? Water. I mean, you could get it from a tap, for crying out loud. Just turn the tap. But no, I got to go buy it in a bottle because somebody put some vitamins in there, something like that. Or they took something out of it, they minused it, they made it pure. They brought it from the deepest part of the earth, sucked it right out of there, put it into an expensive bottle, and sell it more expensive than gas, right? That's what you do when you plus or you minus something.
Now, our other friend that minused it, some of you that live in California, you go to Carl Karcher's. It's a hamburger place. And Carl Karcher's 87, was getting a little portly. He said, the carb thing's big. We'll do the first 2 years ago, no-carb burger. Took away the buns, kept the hamburger and the lettuce and the sesame seeds, wrapped it in paper, charged $1 extra. Everyone say $1 extra? He took away the buns, charged $1 extra, made $1 billion in this first month. Point your temples, go, that's interesting. Everyone touch your heart, say, I can do this. Touch your neighbor's shoulder, say, you can do this.
You can do this. So as you're sitting in your living room tonight, whenever you get home.
After you write 101 goals and send us a copy at markvictorhansen.com, we'll send it back in a year. But you're going to write, write what you're going to do to it.
And you're going to look at an object, whatever it is. There's a garbage can, all right? Or there's a pen, or there's a telephone. And you're going to ask yourself the question, what could I take away from that to make it $1 billion product? What could I add to that? What could I add together with that A plus B? How could I minimize it, maximize it? What is the plus sign and the minus sign we just went through? Multiply. How can I multiply it? The multiplying idea is what happened with Price Club. Price Club happened right here in California. Was it 1974 or something like that? A guy says, let's just create a great big huge building like a warehouse. Let's not make it pretty. Let's make it as ugly as possible. Let's have these big carts that you have to feel like you're a construction worker to use. And let's package gum instead of selling onesies and twosies. Let's package a package of gum with 500, packets in it or something crazy idea and sell it really cheap. I mean, Price Club started right here where they took an idea. And there were thousands of grocery stores, hundreds of thousands of grocery stores. And he says, I'm going to take it and I'm going to multiply it. I'm going to figure out a way to sell not just one, but sell 50 at a time. And let's make a store big enough to do that. So, and what I'm trying to say is that everything can be transformed.
I want to hitchhike on that, though. Saul Price is a guy who created it down in San Diego, his neighbor. And Saul called me up after our book was blowing 20,000 a week through his stores. And he said, Mark, man, we love your book, but everybody thinks it's a cookbook. We want a cookbook. I said, Sully, I love you, pal, but we don't do cookbooks. He said, the first order is $250,000. I said, Saul, we can do a cookbook? Now, what company slows down or product or service?
And they made $1 billion from it. Aging, absolutely. That's a whole new field.
The anti-aging stuff is where the big money is going to be.
What else can we slow down and make $1 billion from it?
Sorry?
Think about it.
Time release. By the way, that's called chelation in herbs and vitamins. Yes.
Time release drugs. Exactly. That made $1 billion from that.
What else? Ketchup.
Ketchup. Ketchup. Cracking the angel code. Let's just talk about that for a few minutes. What is an angel? Well, there are visible angels and invisible angels. What is a visible angel? You're looking at them. You're looking at them. Each of you has a group of people that you meet with on a regular basis to become part of your team. Yes or yes? If you don't, you need to. An angel is a person that brings their gifts, their talents to you. And you don't have those gifts and talents, and you kind of form a team together. And each of those angels, the word angel is actually another acronym, and we use lots of acronyms, too many. Actually, when we were sending the manuscript, and our editor said, there's so many acronyms in this book. And so we actually made up another acronym, but you get to decide what it means. You get to create your own acronym. This is the word angels, what it means. An angel is a person who has assets. That's for the A. Or tools, equipment. They got something physical. Or maybe money, credit, whatever. They got assets. They're going to help you make your deal happen. The N stands for a network. Exactly. A network, meaning somebody you bring into your team may have a network connection. For instance, one of the reasons I'm a partner with Mark, I'm pretty much of a loner, to tell you the honest truth. My wife married this guy, but when I go home, I'm not this guy. When he goes home, he is that guy. He is just like that in every scenario possible. I'm only this right here. But when I get home, I'm very, very shy, frankly. Very shy. It's hard to believe that, isn't it? I'm pretty much of a loner. I'll go in my room. And anyway, for a network, I'm not good at networking. I suck at networking. But this guy, when you look in the dictionary, the word network is a picture of him. How many people has he talked about here? I'm standing on the stage. Every time I tell a story, he knows the guy or the gal. It's just he knows more people than anybody I have ever met. And on your team of angels, you need to have somebody like that. Someone who likes to network. I don't like to network. I'm pretty much a loner. I'm a do-it-yourself kind of guy. Well, I'll just do it all myself, man. I don't need anybody else. In him, he is just amazing. He has a skill I do not have. The reason that we do well is because I've got skills he doesn't have. Not very many. But
is this we prayed and you said you'd be humble for a change? There we go. Oh, Bobby.
So you need somebody on your team who is a networker, who actually thrives to bring people into your team. The G in your angel spells, and when you see somebody, they have a genius about them. We all do have genius. But they have skills or talents. Something about them brings to the table some skill, some genius that you just can't find anywhere else. And so when you're looking at somebody, you really, the question you're asking is, what is your genius? What do you bring to the table that nobody else in the world could bring to the table? You need an angel like that. The E stands for their education or experience. Maybe they have an experience of if it's a fundraiser, raising funds for thousands of different churches. Well, you don't have that experience. Well, then I bring them into my team because of their experience. Because they know, bam, just like that, exactly who to talk to, what to say. They've done it 1,000 times before, but you haven't. So you bring somebody on your team who has. The L stands for the light. Meaning, and I'm glad to my daughter Ame, who was singing the song about light. On your team, does that person have light? Meaning, do they believe in higher power? Are they a giver? Do you want somebody on your team who's not a giver? Why would you allow that person to be on your team? If giving is so powerful, if higher power blesses people, you would want to find a giver to be on your team. You want to have a light and a enlightened person. It also means somebody that believes in a higher power. Do they believe in a higher power? When you start talking about higher power, will they be offended? Will it make their skin crawl? It makes some people's skin crawl, and that's okay. They'll find out one of these days. You want to bring somebody on your team, when you say those kinds of words, they're going to go, yeah, let's pray. Like today, we're having breakfast over at the Coco's, whatever it is. Mark reaches out and grabs my hands and says, let's pray. We never eat without praying. I always eat almost without praying. I mean, I just do it naturally. I just eat. He won't even start it. We have a meeting up there in the room. Grabs everybody's hands, let's pray. I mean, this is the kind of person you want on your team, who just naturally flows that way. And I'm one that's learning it, frankly, and he's the guy who's teaching it. The S in angels is serendestiny. Serendestiny is a word that we've coined. The serendipity is the magical, incredible discovery process of serendipity. And the destiny part is having them stumble into somebody that they were destined to meet. Meaning, is a person on your team maybe going to stumble into somebody in a month from now? They have nothing to bring to the team. Nothing. But there's something about you goes, there's a reason you're supposed to be on our team. I don't know. You don't really know that higher power is saying this person doesn't have a lot of the skills you need, but I'm going to have them stumble into something that they are the only person who can stumble into it. Get them on your team. And when they stumble into what I'm going to have them stumble into, you'll know why they're supposed to be on your team. It's called serendestiny. It's the magical part. So when the word angels means bringing people on your team who have those kinds of resources, and then forming a team and working with that team to create some magical, incredible, powerful, multi-million-dollar ideas that'll come because you've attracted people like that, right? Once again, we can't spend a whole lot of time on this question, but how can I attract angels to help me? Well, you're going to attract visible angels who are going to be part of what we call your inner circle. And that's going to be surrounded by what we call your virtual team of people that are geniuses like Leonardo da Vinci or Thomas Edison. Have a group of people that become your kind of virtual mentors. We call that. We have a lot of time to talk about it. And then around you, we have what we call your winner circle, which is every single one of you knows 100 people, 100 successful people. Every single of the people you know knows 101 successful people. And every one of those people knows 101 successful people. Within 3 phone calls of your phone, you have access to 1 million people from the 101 people you know. Which ones of those people should higher power connect you to? In other words, from the people you already know from your living room, there are 1 million people you could contact who knows who. Somebody on that outer circle probably has all the answers to every problem you have to bring your product to market and to market it for millions of people. You are 3 phone calls away from them. We call that your winner's circle. And then finally, the outside circle is a circle of life. They've got almost 7 billion people on the planet. And then the final outside circle is what we call the eternal circle. And there's where we go into how many people have ever lived on this earth? How many people have ever lived on this earth? I hear 9 billion, I hear 18 billion. I read a book, it was actually in a book on Da Vinci, 90 billion. And who knows who's right? The question I'm asking you is, where are they right now? Well, we know where 6.5 billion of them are. Where are the other 84 billion of them? How many of you believe there is an afterlife? Do they get to influence us? We're trying to attract people into our funnel. We're trying to bring them to the event like this, so we can maybe influence them somehow. It's going to cost so much money to bring them. Do you know how it would be much more cheap, much more less expensive if you brought them? If you brought them, we wouldn't have to spend $1 million, and we could give the $1 million away. You crack this code, you will be rich. You don't crack this code, more than likely, you will be one of the 95% of the businesses that will fail in the next 5 years. Almost guarantee it. You crack this code. This is simple. This is it. Most businesses do not do this. When you bring somebody into your door as a customer, you love them. And you give them as much as you can give them. Why do you love them? Why do Mark and I love you? We don't need to love you. We got enough money in the bank. We don't need to love you. We're okay. Why do we love you? The reporters that come and interview this and see what goes on here, they don't get this. They don't understand. Why do we love you? Because you're our brothers and sisters. You are literally my brother and my sister. I want you to win because we're part of his business with a capital B. And we love you. You may think we are just saying that. No, we love you. Now, we're trying to crack his code. We haven't cracked it yet. We're trying to learn it. But if we treat you like stars, and I think we did a little bit of that last night, didn't we? Yeah. If we'll treat you like stars, you will feel like stars. You will see what we see. We see your value. You are so valuable to us, not because we want to make money from you, because you are so valuable. You are so priceless. You have to treat you like stars. And if you learn how valuable you are and you get the feeling of, hey, I can have a little plaque here and a little bigger thing here and I can get that big one. If we treat you like stars, then you'll say, come on. You'll bring your friends back and you'll go, these guys treat us like stars. You got to see this. You can't believe this. You got to watch. They actually hug stuff from every once in a while. If we can get to them in the doggone lines them, but they'll even hug us. If you'll treat your customer like a star, you'll never have to spend another dime on advertising.
Bob, let me give you the example of that. We have a friend in Australia who's the highest paid dentist in the world. His name is Dr. Patty Lund. A couple of years ago, he is ready to commit suicide. As you know, dentistry has the highest suicide rate in the world because they look in a little black hole that smells bad, looks bad, and most people that come in go, I hate you, and I hate dentistry, and it makes you feel real good about your profession after spending 28 years becoming a dentist. Patty went PADDY, went on a hiatus, and he meditated, cogitated, ruminated, and says what works and what doesn't work. He had 4,000 patients, a vast clinic, and he said, I don't like 3/4 of them. They don't resonate with me. I don't resonate with them. They're not stars for me, and I'm not stars for them. I'm extricating myself. He owned velour seats, and some of you have been in dentist chairs like that, and the guys who come in their oily pants from the mechanic shop and wreck his stuff, so he took those guys and put them with dentists that love the oily secrets of cars. Not that they're good or bad, it's just they didn't resonate with Patty. And he says, from now on, when you come in here, you got to like, love, respect, and admire me, and I like, love, and respect, and admire you, and it's no longer Dr. Lund. It's from now on, you're going to call me Patty, and I'm going to call you by your first name, and the way it's going to work is that you get my home phone number. And his home calls went from 12 to 20 a week down to 1 to 2 a year, because now it's human being. You're no longer going to be a patient. That's who you work on. You're going to be a client. That's somebody you work with. And in my office, it does not say dentistry. It's going to have an apple, and it says by appointment only. And when you come in, there's